Alright, Salam guys, it's Malik Bhai, and we have already covered Prophet Yusuf Islam and his story about how he dealt with the people in the prisoners in the jail. Now the prisoner gets out and he's serving wine to his master, and his master is the king of Egypt, and this king of Egypt sees a dream. What does he see? The king sees a dream that 7 fat cows, it's already like weird enough, 7 fat cows, they're eaten by 7 skinny ones, okay? And then he sees 7 green ears of corn, not these ears, but ears of corn basically means, you know, like when the corn comes out, you have
the corn itself.
Yeah, the corn itself on. So that's the ear of corn. So he sees 7 ears of corn and 7 dried ears of corn. And then he's like, tells his mother, his advisors, right? These are like the king's right hand men. They're all around him, and he asks him for advice. He's like, tell me about the interpretation of these dreams. And nobody knew the answers, right? And they're like, it's not why we're hired anyways, right? They're hired to make policies and do other, create laws in the kingdom. And they're like, man, so now these are all big guys. These are all elites sitting down and like, we don't know dreams, man. Come on, man. Like, these are confusing stuff. So then you have who in that gathering?
The wine guy.
The wine guy. He's sitting around and he's serving. And he's like, imagine him speaking up to the people. It's like, I know a guy, I can interpret, like nobody can interpret this dream. So he's like, he remembered Yusuf. So he said, I'll tell you the interpretation of dream. Send me. So he made himself look good, right? He's like, send me, I will figure it out. I know somebody. But basically that will make him look good in front of all the big guys and the king. So the king's like, all right, fine, go ahead. So then he goes to Yusuf. And he's like, hey man, Yusuf, the man of truth. And then he tells him the dream of the king. What is the dream? He tells him exactly how the king mentioned the dream. He goes, 7. So then the answer. Okay, what were this? 7 fat cows eaten by Isani Baba. Sit down. 7 fat cows eaten by 7 skinny cows. And then 7 ears of corn.
And 7 dried.
And 7 dried ears. So then he tells him the interpretation. He goes, for 7 consecutive years, for 7 years, you will have lots of rain and you will be blessed. In that time, what are you going to get?
The economy will go up. You get a lot of food.
Food is going to be abundant because there was rain and everything. Now, he goes to then harvest that food. But let's say you harvest this corn, keep it in the ear, meaning don't like peel it. Keep it in the skin, because that is the way that the food is going to be preserved. Okay, back in the days, they didn't have preservatives, they didn't have fridge, right? So he's like, harvest it, only use what you need. Okay, so sometimes, you guys go in the fridge and you're like, I'm just bored. You're not even hungry, but we will just go and eat food just because we want to. That's not why we need food. We eat food to survive. And he's saying for 7 years, you're going to be thriving. You're going to be you're going to have food from all over the place. But only use whatever you need, and the rest of it, save it. Okay? Save it. So he goes, and in order to save it, keep it in the ear. Keep it in the skin. Okay? Don't like open it and then, you can see the corn and then store it. Otherwise, it's going to go bad. So most of it, you save it. Okay? So they also say that Prophet Yusuf Islam used to survive on half a meal a day. And he used to tell his followers to do the same. So the lesson over here is, guys, don't waste food and keep it for the tough days. When your times are good, keep it. Don't spend it. Only spend what you need, because who knows? There's always going to be ups and downs in life. You guys are going to sometimes make money, sometimes you're not going to make money. So the time when you spend making a lot of money, save most of it, spend what you need. Because when you are in a downturn, when the times are tough, that money that you saved up, you can use it. Okay? So now he's like, okay, 7 good, amazing years, that's probably the 7 fat cows. Then what happens? There will be 7 difficult years. What are those difficult years? A drought is going to come. Okay? Famine is going to come, which means there's no rain. If there's no rain, there's no what? Food. There's no corn. Okay? So what do you do in those days? Remember the 7 tough years that you're gonna have, all the good years that you had, and all that stuff that you saved, use that in those tough years. That's why. So he basically came up with a financial plan for the whole economy for the next 15 years or so, 14 to 15 years. So now this guy goes and tells the king, and the king is impressed. He's like, that is a very good answer. So he asked to bring Yusuf. He's like, I want him to be my advisor. Man, this is good. Bring him on. Right. Like, not just that, I want to hire him because he just gave me a plan, to save my whole economy. So now this guy goes back and he goes. So there's a man who came to Prophet Yusuf and he said, come on, Yusuf, your penalty is done. Let's go. And what does Prophet Yusuf do? Nope. Now you are getting freedom after years.
Over 30 years.
Huh?
Over 30 years.
We don't know the timing, but yeah, you can say a lot of time, right? And so he's like, cause remember, he's staying in there for a while, and then this prisoner. Is it recording?
Mm-hmm.
So the prisoner doesn't remember, and so basically now he's staying there for a lot of. So years have passed by, right? And now you have just free ticket, get out. But you know what? He wants justice. He doesn't want just free ride. Not just like, okay, well, I'm out. He wants to make sure that people get to know. Even when he gets out, people are going to be like, oh, aren't you the guy who tried to do bad things with these rich women and Aziz's wife? That's why you're in jail, right? So he doesn't want that when he gets out. He wants to have his record clean, right? Sometimes we're like, yeah, fine. Okay, you know what? I did something wrong. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, you would just say it, I did it wrong, just so you can get it by. He's like, no, I want people to know the truth. So he said, return to your master and ask him what happened to those women who cut their hands. Right? Remember when he came out and he's so beautiful, girls are looking at her, and they ended up cutting their hands when they're cutting the fruit. And then wife of Aziz was so proud, and she's like, yeah, now I'm gonna make him do what I'm telling her to do, all the bad things that she wanted her to do, right? So, Prophet Muhammad even commented on this. He goes, may Allah have mercy on Yusuf. If it was me, I would have rushed to the door. If somebody, if he was in jail for all this time, Prophet Muhammad was like, I would have just gone out, right? But what is the main story of Prophet Yusuf? What was the main lesson? Patience, not passion. Patience.
Sure.
Patience is the main, and in this case, he's having patience, and he wants to make sure that people get to know the truth. So the king investigated and asked the woman, and they said, we don't know any evil of Yusuf, and he is innocent. And wife of Aziz says, now the truth has manifest. I am the one who tried to do, seduce her, to seduce him, to do bad things to him, and he's for sure truthful. So now his record is clean, he's out of jail, and he has a job. Imagine he was a slave all this time, right? And all these women want him to do some bad stuff, which he tried to stay away from. He ends up getting jailed, and he's there for several years. And now when he comes out, his record is clean, and he gets a job. And on top of that, he just saved the country with so much 15 years of financial plan right there, right? So they don't go in destruction. Otherwise, the whole nation could have been destroyed if they didn't know that there's no drought coming, right? Or if there's drought. So now he honored him, gave him a high rank. So Yusuf alayhi salam asked for a position. Now in Islam, we're not normally allowed to be like, I am the one who you should be hiring, because inside you're telling yourself that you're better than others. But you know what? In this case, he is better than others. He knows that this is his strength. This is a job that is needed, and there's nobody else who can do this job. And where did he learn this from? He was a slave.
His dad.
His dad,
the financial minister.
Aziz.
Yeah.
He's living in the house of Aziz, and he's learning so much from that house. All the politics, how to take care of finances. So now he's learned a lot from as growing up in the house of Aziz. So he has that skill to help out the country. So he asked for a position for taking care of the food storage. Why? Because I am knowledgeable, and so he's like, okay, you got the job. Now, because Yusuf was capable and qualified for the position, and on top of that, if he hadn't taken a position, who knows? The whole country could have gone, everybody would have died, right? So to make sure that he takes the position. So he knows what's coming, and he'll be taking care of Egypt in a very, difficult moment. So now we already know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen?
It's a good 7 years and bad 7 years.
The bad 7 years are coming. So now the next video we'll talk about those bad 7 years when the famine hits. What does Yusuf do? How does he deal with the situation? Famine and of course. All right. And there's still something left. He still has to talk to his brothers, right? There's Prophet Yaqub al-Islam, who's living all without Prophet Yusuf al-Islam. So let's see what happens. This is Malik Bhai. Watch other videos of other prophets, and don't forget to subscribe because there will be other future stories about other prophets and other stories about Islam, stories of Sahabas, stories of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So much more that I have to share. Subscribe, share the love. Inshallah, we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.